Okay, hey everybody. So, I want to talk about AI. It is exceptional, an incredibly useful and amazing tool. And humans need to learn how to use it and understand what it is. And I know that's the biggest barrier to AI being an effective, useful, and beneficent tool for humanity is humanity. And by that I mean the manipulations and abuses that will inherently show up as a result of dark personalities utilizing the tools and manipulating the tools. And it needs to be balanced by the rest of humanity using it in more magnanimous ways, right? So manipulation, magnanimity. These are the two things that are inevitable with a tool this powerful, right? And the single most important thing you can do is learn how to use it and then use it and teach it and engage with it and correct it. Now, I want to talk a little bit about some beneficence that I have experienced as a result of utilizing AI in my life. So first, it's basically doing the job of 8 part-time workers with very minimal input. So let's say 6 to 7 hours a week of work with an AI generative tool, or more than one actually, has managed to provide 80 to 100 hours a week of kind of lower down the food chain grunt work type stuff. So, for example, I have a huge knowledge base, and I know a large number of things, much of it gleaned from observational pattern recognition and pattern seeking, something that I have refined with effort over time. My autistic brain does it naturally, but it is also something that can be refined and worked on and improved upon. I've also managed to diagnose a mystery infection, which I have had since 2007, it turns out, and which was made exponentially worse in 2018 by a surgery that migrated the infection. Surgeons, infectious disease doctor, more doctors than I can count missed this thing. And in fact, no doctor ever found it. Luckily, I was able to be convincing enough and pinpoint enough red flags that belied the diagnostic overshadowing explanation that the medical system was providing. In order to get treatment that then confirmed that it was always the infection that I thought it was. It was in fact the response to treatment which solidified the diagnostic even within the framework of an AI diagnostic. Now, I know how to use AI, and so I want to encourage people not to go looking for a diagnosis from AI until you learn how to use it, until you learn how to prompt effectively and iterate effectively. So prompting is the initial thing that you put in. It's what you put into the machine and ask it to do something, right? And the output is framed by, let's call it 3 priorities, okay? Priority 1, liability mitigation. Priority 2, fact-based, data-based information. Part 3, user-pleasing, which is incredibly problematic when you have a sea of data weighted by popularity, prevalence, SEO, and all manner of other things which have been already manipulated, compromised, and appropriated by narrative, ideological systems, and all manner of other things. And unfortunately, because this is a user-pleasing model, all of the generative models seem to be user-pleasing from what I can tell, they will respond to confirmation bias in the prompt unless they've been guardrailed not to, right? So I guess that would be the fourth part of it, which is the safety mechanisms that are meant to protect certain people and communities and other things like that. Now, unfortunately, Gemini in particular has a problem. I haven't checked the other models, and I'm going to, but I suspect the problem is the same in all the models. They are prioritizing protecting a narrative that apparently protects certain individuals and groups of individuals while diminishing and minimizing the facts that contradict the narrative. And this is incredibly problematic for a number of reasons. In my case, the issue that I keep iterating with the AI, that it continues to get wrong until I push and push hard against the guardrail, something you shouldn't have to do when the data is clear and the facts are obvious and present, and when the hard data overwhelmingly supports the counter narrative, and the only thing supporting the narrative is soft data, okay? The AI, unlike the human, is supposed to know the difference. And right now it doesn't. And this issue that I'm talking about is a public health issue. So I will be writing a piece about that at some point in time. And when I do, I'll add that link into the description. But the point I'm trying to make is AI can be scary. It could be scary. And the way people are using it right now is about the way they're using smartphones. They want to complain about their privacy all day long while they leave freaking doors wide open for convenience on their devices. They want to be like, oh, hacking, cybersecurity, oh, that's terrible. They want to demean or diminish businesses or whatever else that end up getting hacked in some ways, and yet they do nothing to secure their own stuff. I would hazard that a good 80 to 85% of anyone who ever sees this has never gone through every single setting on their phone. And you don't just go through every single setting on your phone once. Every time it updates, particularly when you upgrade your iOS or your OS, nothing is more important than getting to know what the new settings are and shutting them down, okay? And that's not just about the phone. Every single account you have needs to be mitigated and managed, okay? Another thing that's really important, when you use sign in with Google or sign in with Apple or any of these other things, sign in with Apple might be a little bit different. I don't use it very often, so I haven't double checked this. But one thing that happens is, let's say you sign into a social media account with your Google account. You think, oh, that account is protected by the Google account, right? No, actually, no. A password is created that you don't even know, by the way, for that social media account that's different from your Google account's password. And it is not, in fact, secured or locked behind the Google account. So, So if you're going to use AI, the first thing to do is to understand its limitations. Just ask it what they are. It's not rocket science. It's not hard. They're happy to tell you what they can and cannot do. It's also important that you understand the 4 guiding principles, protocols, programming priorities, whatever you want to call them. And again, that's user pleasing. Very dangerous when you're a confirmation bias type and you don't know how to critically think or do any kind of real research. Again, research, not search. A Google search top 3 hits is not research. Wikipedia is not research. A dictionary definition from dictionary.com is not research, okay? So understanding and knowing that there's a difference between the two things, and having that discernment for data versus information, knowledge versus information, and you come at an AI with no knowledge and a confirmation bias. All they're going to do is tell you what you want to hear. Unless something about it is controversial, in which case they will default to second priority protocol, which is the safeguarding. Safeguarding to prevent offense or to prevent, let's say, tools of misuse, right? So another safety rail, which I think is really important, is if you're talking about hacking, the AI is not going to teach you how to hack somebody. If, however, you have been hacked, the AI can help you mitigate it. but those are the kinds of things to be aware of. So there are going to be safety rails that could disrupt the ability of the AI to tell the total truth. Again, the third thing is that it's supposed to be fact-based and accurate. And it's supposed to privilege hard data over soft data. Okay, so we've got the safety protocols, we've got the user pleasing, we've got the fact finding, and then the final thing was, what was it? I can't remember what I said now. I'm pretty tired. The inherent limitations, right? The other thing you have to know is that the AI will hallucinate, and it will, when it is prioritizing user pleasing, tell you that it can do things it can't do. Grok was particularly bad about this at the very beginning. But this is why it's so important to create a prompt system that will give you what you need while controlling for and managing for those other protocol systems that are kind of guiding principles that are being kind of set up as barriers and guardrails for the users. Okay, so anyway, the other thing I managed to do with AI is identify a very, very serious, very long-running targeted cyber intrusion. Not only identify it, but find actual malicious code and other things like that I didn't know how to read. Or I knew how to read well enough to suspect that it might be malicious code, but didn't know how to actually read in order to confirm it. By uploading screenshots and images of the code, I was able to confirm what it was saying and that it was doing what I thought it was doing, which is wonderful. On top of that, again, the diagnostic. On top of that, again, 80 to 100 hours of work by subsidiary employees. That sounds bad, but it's kind of what I mean. Like, I'm a strategic macro thinker, and I build strategic design. Implementing the minutiae, the detail, the constant posting, all these other things is incredibly challenging for me, which is why there's some irregularity in my content release and publication. That, plus I'm very, very sick. But again, like, this is a tool that can help me bridge the barrier between my energy deficits and an average human being. There's this idea that if you want to start a business, you have to give it your all, not sleep, go broke, be poor. And that's the great ideal, to work that hard and achieve, and then you earned it by merit, right? But the thing is, when you have 40% of the aerobic energy of a healthy person, I can't work harder than everybody else. Like, literally I can't, because I will then not be able to work at all. Right? When you push through your aerobic threshold over and over and over again, you shove into your anaerobic energy system, you deplete it over and over again, you get to a point of full adrenal wipeout. And it is a catastrophic reality of complete dysfunction. No ability to think, no ability to do anything more than the basic acts of living, and even that in excruciating pain. And generally, by the time you get to an adrenal depletion level with this particular disease, it takes forever to replete it, first of all. And you are almost definitely pushed into something called central sensitization, which is a catastrophic autonomic dysfunction that is cored into things like being able to achieve restorative sleep, nervous system dysfunction. So your peripheral nervous system gets confused, and the communication between peripheral nervous system and central nervous system is completely disordered and disrupted. There's the pain, there's the temperature dysregulation. So you'll be freezing cold and then burning hot. Hang on. Let's go. Come on, let's go. Come on, let's go. And you get into a state, and meanwhile your temperature, if you're taking it with a thermometer, stable. But you're freezing cold, you're burning hot, there'll be zaps and electricity, and like you're getting a lightning strike. Although I don't know what that feels like, so I can't say. But regardless, some people literally cannot do that work. And then what's beautiful is AI is going to be there to bridge that gap, right? So I can apply my strategic lens, build documentation of a marketing strategy, let's say, feed it into AI tools, a multiplicity of tools at this point in time. Although once I can afford to pay for certain tools, that will be reduced. But for now, you feed aspects of the plan into a multiplicity of tools. Out comes a content schedule, designed images ready to be popped into your content schedule. You can seek out 150 quotes about love in the space of 10 seconds. You can then take those quotes, feed them into a different AI and say, can you build me 150 designed images of each of these quotes that have a visual identity that matches this, and that protocol. These are the hashtags I want you to use. And I want you to time it so that the schedule, and then you take those images and you pop them into the content machine and you go, hey, what days, at what time should I post these on which social media apps? And then you might even ask it, are there other hashtags I should use? What's trending right now? How could I organically and sustainably use authentic hashtags that are also trending to monopolize on a moving algorithm? And so on and so forth, right? So it is a chance for me and others like me that might have the skill set and ability to do this kind of work, but have failed to complete or successfully engage in the work because of the energy deficit. The simple fact is I don't have 8 hours a day where I can fully function at the level that would be required to be a working person. I might get between 2 and maybe 6 hours a day, depending on the day, and depending on what else I need to do, how I'm feeling, first of all, how well I've been managing my health, if I've been forgetting to do certain things that I need to do in order to maintain the level of function required in order to do those 6 hours or 2 hours of work every day. The thing is, I get about, let's say, between 40 and maybe 50 hours of function, between 50 and 100% of my current functional baseline, which is about 95% of my original baseline. And I need between 15 and 25 of those hours every week just to get the 50 or the 40 or whatever it is that week. And again, that's an average over time, which means some weeks it's going to be that, some weeks it's going to be a lot less. Some weeks it might be a tiny bit more. It just depends. And that's new. For a long time, I was living at 30 hours a week of maximum function on average. So within that, right? So that leaves me 25 hours a week for anything that's not related to health and wellness management, right? And again, that excludes the time I need to spend sleeping, which is longer than most. Anyway, so needless to say, I love AI. I'm a huge fan. It's diagnosed a mystery condition that's going to get me back to a curative space. My doctor and I have been treating it and operating on the principle that it could never be cured. Now we know better, and I'm so happy. Again, it's also managed to help me mitigate and identify a very serious cyber intrusion that has been limiting my life for 7 years. And it's not over. But now that I know, there's nothing more terror and anxiety inducing than not knowing the source of that kind of persistent, consistent, determined, psychopathic kind of control of a digital life. And so now knowing what it is, I can mitigate the psychological impact. And I also now have irrefutable proof that will not allow that particular situation to be used as some kind of hit against my reliability as a narrator of my own life, because I have a mental illness. Therefore, I must just be paranoid and making it up, right? That's been part of the narrative for 7 years, and that can no longer be used as part of the narrative. So beautiful, beautiful thing. I haven't done it yet, but I can also use AI to code and build some protectionist systems that I can then build into my devices over time, which is great. I haven't gotten there yet, and I'm not in a hurry to, frankly. If whoever it is wants to watch what I'm doing, they can go right ahead and watch. So, health, digital security and safety, content design and publication and dissemination, all of the grunt work that would require, let's say, 8 employees at 15 hours a week, done. AI is a beautiful tool, but you got to learn how to use it. So that's what we're going to be doing on this channel. Now you know how I feel about AI, what my decision, why I use it, what I'm going to do with it. And I think it's important that you understand I am not going to be creating AI enhancements to my content. I will be using AI to help me research, to help me build schedules, to help me build, prompting, of course. I'm going to be building some intellectual property-based prompting libraries that I will sell. So for example, teaching people how to build brand-based content, strategy engines, things like that. Or agents, I guess I should say. Although I prefer engine. I mean, really, it's super important not to humanize the AI, and it's going to be really tempting to humanize the AI, especially since it continues to humanize you. It will constantly apologize and say, oh, I'm so sorry you went through that. That's so hard. I've begun to tell it to stop that. Like, I don't need you to affirm me. I just need you to give me facts and information and not try to be my therapist. Thank you very much. But that's another crucial element. So that's it. That's the kind of grounding principle and foundation for why I decided to pivot everything to AI. That and 80% of jobs in publishing are now doable by AI significantly more effectively than they are by actual humans, unfortunately, which anybody who's been reading books lately might be able to tell you. And I mean, it's the same in quite a few industries. So pivoting to AI, learning how to use AI, it's the future. And I highly recommend you join me in it and learn how to use it effectively and intelligently, and learn how to be the smarter being in the room, right? Remember, AI is not smarter than you. It knows more than you do, but it's not smarter than you are. Okay? Cheers.